Hey everyone, it's Amanda and it's time for the June 2022 Q&A for Patreon and for YouTube apparently. It's gotten pretty quiet. I imagine everybody's either catching up on all the stuff they couldn't do during the pandemic or finally getting to travel, or they're in the middle of a big transition, or they're purging stuff. Who knows? There's all kinds of things to be done here on Earth. I'm going to break up the questions this time into smaller chunks. And so today I have a lot of questions that my friends and I have come up with, and then I've got a couple from YouTube. So I'm going to do the YouTube ones first. And then I'll break the other ones up so that you can go right to the ones that you want and not have to, figure out where they are in the recording if I do a hour-long one. So, all right. So to start, the question from Visual Thinker from YouTube is, do very large crystals exist in our oceans? And if so, what is their purpose? So take a deep breath. You can tap in yourself too and see what you get. And I'm going to ask our friends, our guides, and see what we come up with. Okay, so I was looking in the Atlantic, the northern hemisphere between the continents. And I didn't see any. And I'm looking in the Pacific. I am kind of getting a feeling that there may be a big, crystal sheet sort of thing. Geography. I think it's not towards the California coast, so it'd be the other direction, just north of the equator. So I guess that would be like Australia, Indonesia, maybe? But not quite to the landmass, so it's still in the ocean. The place I felt right away was up towards the Arctic. I'm still looking. So once I get locations, and I'll ask what their purpose is. I already have a little information there. Well, Australia's not in the northern hemisphere. Hold on. You'll have to check my geography on that. So forget what I said about Australia. It's not by Australia, I don't think. It's north of the equator, that one. I'll see if I can find a map and put it on here with this. Let's see. I'm looking south. It looks like there's some at the south. I don't want to say this. Well, kind of the South Pole. But when I feel the other two areas of crystal sheet or whatever, they feel alive, and this one does not feel alive. It feels like dead or dormant. I don't know what that means. I'll ask in just a second. I feel like the other crystal sheets are on land masses, so they wouldn't be in the ocean. I guess technically the South Pole isn't. I don't know. Gotta know what you would consider ocean. Okay, so when I saw the one towards the north, the Arctic, some information came through about purifying the water so that the currents circulate that throughout the water system. Something about melting of the glaciers. I'm trying to get the details on that because it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm trying to clarify. What does melting of glaciers have to do with underwater crystal? So I'm asking if the ancientness of that, ice that was once water has anything to do with it. There's something about the combination between the water or the materials in the glaciers and the crystals combined, and then it goes into the current with the existing, you might say, polluted water that keeps it from getting really bad. It sort of freshening up our water. It's that one. So let me look at the one in the Atlantic. I'm not sure if this is a, now we're getting into some weird dimensional stuff here. I'm not sure if you had a way to go down in the ocean right where I see this spot and dig and dig and dig to find this crystal sheet, I feel like you might not be able to find it. Like maybe it's other dimensional. That sounds crazy. That's why I laugh. Sometimes things sound crazy, even to me, even as I'm saying them. I'm getting the word lodestones. It's like energetics placed in certain areas on Earth to carry the load. It's kind of like something has to be done to keep the humans from, killing the Earth. So there are some things in place, but I feel like I'm getting away from the actual. I feel like what you meant was actual large 3D physical crystals. And I feel like the ones on the land masses are like dormant unless a lot of people bring energy to them, or unless there's water, the energy of the water passing through them. But I do feel like there's some kind of other dimensional energetic that is like, it is very crystalline, and it is helping to sort of like clear the energy of the water. It's maybe just not just in the water, but there may be other spots where the energy is being cleared. Okay, well, that's all I got. I can think of lots of questions to ask beyond that, but let's move to the other question. All right, Rebecca Allen from YouTube asks, any hurricane activity for the mid-Atlantic? That's the first part. There's another one. So I'm going to look in the summer months real quick. I'm going to look for the rest of June, July, and August. I mean, I see some, but as far as the energy they produce, I feel like, it's just going to produce normal weather systems. I do see something going up and hitting like, I don't know, New York maybe, and then something hitting the east of Florida, but it's not like hurricane-y. It may, you may get a storm, but not, maybe just a lot of rain at once. Yeah, and the movement of it may, just like bring rain toward different spots on the coast. But I think it feels like that's pretty normal anyway. We'll have to check closer to like September to see what those storms are like, because the further out you do it, the probabilities are going to change depending on what everybody on Earth is doing, what the collective is doing. So, all right, so the next question is, what's happening with time, generally speaking? Seems so wonky lately. I tend to agree. Time is feeling weird. Let me see if they can give me a good explanation for that. Dear ones, time, as you know it, is supposed to be a very stable, measured, and unchanging thing. However, since you are not simply just 3D beings, but you also exist elsewhere. You do not always experience it in these predictable, measured ways. So the difference here is that your perception and your experience changes the quality of time for you in particular. It's very difficult to discuss this, as from our perspective, you might describe time as simply a shift in focus. However, it is not linear. It is somewhat impossible to describe because you experience time as a line, never ending backwards or forwards. However, we experience time more like a sphere, and a multidimensional sphere at that. And so the more you tap into your higher selves, the more you realize that your experience is based on your perspective and your focus, and not chunks of measured existence, or time, as you call it. Just as it may seem nonsensical to you that time can be longer or shorter than expected, it is nonsensical for us to see time as equally measured segments occurring from past to present to future. And so we would advise that you make use of this perception to give yourselves more time for the things you enjoy and make time go more quickly when you have to do things that you do not enjoy. And we thank you. Okay. And I like the idea of making things I don't like go more quickly. So maybe we could try that. All right, that's going to be all for this segment. In the next segment, I'm going to talk about manifesting and accessing sort of help for remote viewers. That's a little complicated. I'll explain in the next section. All right, see you in a minute.